That is not powerful. That is minimizing yourself and your emotions so that you can survive. What? Okay. So we're wanting a logo. We sent out this guy's work to several different people in the leadership. Everyone said, he looks fantastic. Let's hire him. Greg said, he looks great. Let's hire him, right? I mean,
I was the
Oh, he did say no, but he said it just because he's the no man. Yeah, and then I think Jared went, well, we have to have one, right? I mean, there was some sort of little bro partnership you guys got going and all that. But anyway, yeah. Is that right? Was that you or is that? No, it was Dan. Sorry, it was Dan who said that. Sorry. You do have a bromance. Like, it's beautiful. I love it. So we get back our first designs from the guy, and I'll just say that I had like almost a physical reaction when I saw the first one, and the physical reaction wasn't good. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a terrifying saguaro cactus as a cross with giant needles on it. I know. And I was like, that looks like terrifying, painful religion. And like, that's the last thing we want to be. And we had said we don't want anything religious. I said, think camping company, think granola bars. Like, that's the kind of like, don't think like church. You need to like get church out of your mind and think like we're a camping company or we make granola bars or something, and then just add church into the name. And then we got 3 designs that all had crosses as the predominant theme. And I didn't really like any of them, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not just me, but I'll show them to Greg. And so you were also like, yeah, that's probably not what we're looking for. I mean, I don't want to speak for you. You have a microphone. Did you want to comment? No, it's okay.
Saguaro cactus cross?
A saguaro cactus cross, but it was like a hand-drawn one, so it was...
Not as cool as this one. Right?
Right. I didn't even bring a picture because I didn't...
Not anywhere.
Okay, so then I went back to him and he said, that's okay that you didn't care for these. What did you like? And I was like, well, I didn't really like any of it. And I don't even want to say that, you know? And he's like, were there fonts you liked? And we were like, no. And is there a design you liked? No. Was there any colors you liked? No. We didn't like any of. So we went back, we kind of recommunicated what we wanted. And then we got 3 more designs. And I went, okay. Now, remember what my big thing is? I don't like hiring people and then telling them I don't like what you did. And he's now done 6 designs. Oh, by the way, at half of his regular price. He pursued us on that. So now here's this beautiful man trying to do a wonderful thing for us, and I don't know where to tell him how to go to fix this. So I called people that I know and asked for, advice. And the Lord said, thanks for doing that, Jared. And I said, tell me, what do I do? And there was some different suggestions, as some of you might have in your head, like, why don't you go online, pick some fonts, pick some mountains, because I said, do mountains. Mountains never showed up. Or that's not true, in one of them they did. Because when we got our next designs back, they were very aggressive and scary. Right? Nikki saw them. Bethany saw them. Yeah, and I was like, that looks, it was like a camping logo, but it was like, like, you're gonna get your butt kicked and you might get struck by lightning on this camping trip. I mean, it was so super creative. I mean, this guy is really creative, super creative. So now, what's going through my head? Well, if you didn't hire him for all price, he's not a very good designer. What else, Ava? What did you say? Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh is right. Uh-oh. You didn't, so what's running through my head is what? Blame the human, right? Or blame me. Or, all these, or I should micromanage a creative person and basically tell him the fonts that I want and the detailed designs. And I went, I don't want to do that. And besides, when I do that, it never looks good anyway. Like, that's not design. That's something else that's tortured. So what do I get to do? Everyone should know. I get to become a powerful, response-able person who goes to the Lord and says, what's happening here? So when our relationship goes, left turn at Albuquerque, when something's going crazy, instead of trying to fix it like a codependent does, instead of asking someone else to rescue us like a dependent does, we get to become powerful people. And we get to say to the Lord, what's going on and what shall I do? So I realized, I said, Lord, and this is what got me, I said, it's almost as if these designs are like the anti-us. And then I went, that's it. That's it. These designs are almost the opposite of us. And that's not his fault. That's our identity being hid against. How many of you want people to know who you are, right, and know you accurately? And don't you have a couple people in your life who have no clue who you are? They have put a logo on you that is not you. And it's hard not to act like that logo when you're around that person, isn't it? Because their agreement with that perspective almost makes you become that logo. Makes you become an idiot. Makes you become aggressive. Makes you become a screamer, a yeller, or a complainer. It makes you become the very thing that they see when they look at you. That is the result of being actually more powerful than we know. So I realized that what was happening in this whole situation is that's not Daniel's fault. That's who we just gave a word for. That's our identity being pressed against, and he is doing his very best to give us an image that's under attack. So this is an opportunity for us as a community to rise in our identity. Because when our identity is in such a place of agreement with God, there isn't anything that can push it back. So this is a gift and an opportunity, not a problem. Yay! Okay, thoughts? Are you all right? Thoughts and comments? Yeah, go ahead, Josh. So good, right? Okay, Linz, could you help me out? I have one page and then a second page is actually.
I don't really know where to begin. It's really powerful. So all I have was my ex-wife and my mom in my life. They both have treated me like, not knowing who I truly am and stuff as I've been discovering myself. And just very, very hurtful to where I had to cut him out of my life and stuff. I even changed my name from Dustin to Josh, but I realized that I did that, from hurt and pain and just different stuff I suffered that it was difficult for me to accept. So now I'm seeing in different confusion where I thought it was God talking to me. Revelations 2:17, I give you a new name written on a white stone, all this stuff. I wasn't really hearing him clearly, so I changed my name. Yeah, I changed my name legally, birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, everything. It cost money, it took so much time. But I am Dustin, who God created me to be, so I'm standing back in my identity and forgiving myself for all that. And I guess it'll be part of my testimony like it is now, so I'm just grateful to not be running for myself anymore,
Yeah, that's so cool. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? Yes, the things we do out of hurt and pain, and then the Lord goes, you know what? I can bless that and bless this too. That's so beautiful. Wow,
Thank you.
That's powerful. Anybody else have a thought or comment? Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what is the gift basket?
Right? Me too. I have a feeling for some of it. Do you know what it is, Janice? Since you had that thought, you should probably have some revelation on what it is.
Well, I was just comparing what you said before, that you had this beauty on your face and you had this outpouring of love, and that maybe that's what's going to be bestowed upon all of us here, that it's going to just be an outpouring.
Yay! That's so good. Anyone else have a comment or thought? It doesn't have to be in relation just to what Janice said. So, Greg, if you don't mind flipping the board for me, one of our gift baskets is this. When the enemy uses somebody, and I know that phrase enemy, just go with me on that because I don't know how else to call it, okay? So when the enemy uses somebody to hurt us, we get to agree with God instead regarding them. So that doesn't mean that we enter into unsafe and unhealthy relationships And, I'm not talking about going crazy. I'm saying an agreement with God. So since this isn't a personal relationship, and this isn't something obviously unsafe or anything like that, I get to enter into, and we get to enter into, because this is about our image. This was Daniel, our designer, that we gave a word to. And I waited, and I didn't want you to know who he was or any of the backstory, because I wanted there to be clarity to just hear freely about who he is. So Daniel is, I can tell you, super sweet. I don't know about his boat being beached, but I love that there's a sweetness in being beached, and we're beached right now. Right? In this connection with him and in moving forward, we're in this really sweet beached place, for sure. There's something in Daniel's life that's, okay, got that. Tide is coming back in. The boat is not beached, but at rest. And then here's the fun thing. We can check my time here because I'm going to wrap up here in just a moment. Very interesting, Lindsay, that you picked the sailboat, because you all know our friend Patty, who's a prophetic gal, associate pastor in Tennessee. The word that she sent me was a picture of a sailboat on a lake. Coolest. I just love that. So she said, she goes, how does it take its course? How does it move ahead? How does it have progress? There's wind that pushes against the sail. There's wind that drives the sails and moves the boat, but it doesn't do it alone. There's a rudder, and the rudder has resistance. And she talks about 3 places of resistance that make a sailboat move forward. And she said, without resistance, a boat doesn't move. And so she said, maybe this resistance that you're experiencing in these designs, about them almost looking like the opposite of who you are, not the opposite, but not who you are, is the very resistance that's going to push you into your identity. Yes, right? So I'm going to wrap up with, many of you know that one of the chapters, well, it's the only chapter that we have kind of claimed for Desert Outpouring, is from Isaiah 35. And it's a little bit long, so I'm going to kind of read it. This is like about, it's a verse that would describe, I feel like it's a verse that the Lord gave us about who we are as a community. And it says, the wilderness, the desert, and the dry land will be glad. The desert will rejoice and blossom, and it will bloom profusely. And there will be rejoicing with joy and singing, and glory in Lebanon and Carmel and Sharon. Those are alliterations. They're really cool, but we won't get into that. And there's glory of the Lord and the splendor of our God. And they will strengthen the limp hands and make firm the wobbly knees, and say to those with an anxious heart, be strong, have no fear. Like, that's I want to be that. I want to strengthen limp hands, make firm wobbly knees, and I want to say to someone's heart, be strong, have no fear. And it goes on. The eyes of the blind will be opened, the parched land will become like a pool, the grass and the reeds and the rushes, and there will be a highway, I'm on verse 8 now, a roadway, and it will be called the way of holiness. And the unclean will not travel on it. It is for the one who walks the way, and fools will not go astray, and there will not be beasts on it. But the ransom of the Lord will be there, and there will be everlasting joy upon their heads. They will obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. So I know I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but I was talking to the Lord about that this week, and I felt like he said, Ange, you have seen a community of people who are in agreement with God as this highway. Now, how many of you have seen Finding Nemo? Just hopefully almost everyone. Yeah. Yes? Okay, thanks. I'm sorry. I don't know why I pointed you out, but you just gave me a questioning look, and I'm like, really? No? Okay, sorry. Okay, everyone, Finding Nemo almost. So there's this thing in Finding Nemo, which is they're in the ocean, and in order for the dad to find his son, he needs to catch a certain current. Anybody remember what it's called? What's it called? The what?
Is it the EAC?
EAC, and what?
It's Australia's current.
It's this current. And in fact, it's part of how Columbus circumnavigated across the ocean was because of currents. There's certain highways in the ocean that still exist. In fact, if you Google it this afternoon or tonight, you will find that these pathways in the ocean change throughout the year seasonally, and ships regularly use these currents to travel faster. It is literally like getting on and off a highway in the middle of bodies of water. So cool, right? And so these have existed as long as we know that the oceans have existed, and they still exist today, and people use them to navigate. And I have always felt like a place where people agreed with God is like a highway. It's like it's so cool in the movie, and I would have pulled the clip for it, but I didn't have it, which was they're sitting out here floating around, and they're like, jump in, and as soon as they jump in, they're gone, and they're like, whee, and they're like sitting back relaxing while flying. And so I have pictured a place of people in agreement, a powerful people, on the other side, powerful people who are response-able, that they're like a highway. When people come into that space, they're like, whee! But then the Lord said to me this week, he said, it's not just a group of people. Every one of you is a highway. Every person who agrees with God is like a highway. And when someone else comes into your life and you're in agreement with God, you fly in the Spirit. How cool is that? So think about that. You are a place where the wilderness and the dry land is glad. You are someone that the desert around you rejoices, and it blossoms profusely because of you. You will strengthen limp hands. You will make firm wobbly knees. Can you hear me? Are you taking this in? Are you receiving what I'm reading over you? You will say to people with an anxious heart, be strong and have no fear. Behold, your good God is coming. The eyes of the blind will be opened around you, and because you're there, ears of the deaf will be unstopped, the lame will leap like a deer, the tongue of the mute will sing, and water will burst forth from you like a stream in this wilderness. Woo! You are the highway, a roadway, and it is a way called holiness. And there will be no ravenous beast that's allowed upon you. And you will go about singing with joy upon your head. You will obtain gladness and joy. I don't know about you, but I was thinking this week, how often do I feel gladness and joy? Like, I even bought the essential oil from Kristen, joy oil, because I'm like, I want to be joy everywhere I go. I want to be joy. I want to change the very frequency of the air around me, that people who come near me can't help but feeling joy. We will obtain gladness and joy. And you know what joy is? It's just Him. And sorrow and sighing will flee. Yay. That's it. Amen. Thank you. I'll clap for that. So, we're going to gather back next week and find out about becoming more powerful people. Dan, you're getting kiddos, right? And we obviously did our prophetic word time at the beginning, so we're not going to take time for that. We have snacks this week. Anne, I think you brought something yeah? Yay! Is that right? Awesome. And we have so we're so grateful for that. Did anybody else bring something that I wasn't aware of? So we have some other things in the kitchen that we're going to bring out. We would love for you to just bring out some, have coffee and visit with each other. If you wanted to receive an encouraging word about who God says you are, meet me at the back table with pictures. If you would like to have a healing prayer, do you mind hosting that? Is that okay? Sorry, I'm asking in front of everyone, so it's like hard to say no, but you totally could. Okay, so who else would love to join Lindsay in healing prayer? Because that's just an adventure we get to keep doing. Like, I don't get it. Like, I can pray for healing, and then all of a sudden I pray for healing and a healing happens. And I go, I don't even understand that whole thing, but it's such an adventure here. So you can either lay hands on or receive healing prayer. Lindsay's going to lead that space, and she'll be right up here. So anyone who wants that. How fun. Okay, so comments while the kids are coming in. Thoughts or comments on tonight? What is God saying to you? What? No, kids are coming in. So I just talked about what's happening. Sorry. Did I was confusing. I'm so sorry. That's like, thank you for bringing me on track. So, but see, you're wearing a shirt that says there's no mistakes, just happy accidents. Bob Ross. Good advice by Bob Ross. So, who gave you that?
You did.
Yeah.
I think it was you. It wasn't the kids,
Darby
right?
and me found it together, and we... Next to the really ugly swimsuits. We also gave Greg, so we cannot find a new swimsuit for him. We're trying to find nice ones, but we can't find any nice ones. We're moving forward. So he says, don't tell this. So we decided to buy the ugliest swimsuit we could find. They have a swimsuit out there at Target right now. You can get one. Swim trunks with baby kitten heads on it.
Yes.
Right? So is that hilarious? Okay. Yeah. Oh, and what was the other one? Oh, the Flash. But it was like a flesh-colored-y kind of Flash. It was weird. Yeah, ugly. Okay. So let me just release us in prayer. And did you want to thank for offering?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So, yes, thanks for the offerings that we receive. It's wonderful. It keeps us going with what we're doing here. We really appreciate that. And as always, you can give at the back or you can give online. And thank you so much.
All right, Greg's pushing me on. I asked for comments, but he's pushing me on, so just tell me privately. In the meantime, I'll close us together. Lord, thank you that, right. Thank you that you give us opportunities every day to learn how to come into greater and greater agreements with you. Thank you that what seems to be negative thing that happens in our lives, you so want to flip it into a blessing for every person involved, a blessing for us, a blessing for Daniel, a blessing for everyone. So Lord, I say yes to the blessing that you want to do in this space. And then may you all go out and be the very joy of God, be the good perspective, be his very acceptance and joy in the atmosphere. May you even be the Lord's perspective in somebody's finances this week. May you go and be a blessing. Amen. Woo! All right.